The Blue Jays have scored a single run in their last 20 innings, and as a result, they are fading from contention rather quickly. They need to turn it around and fast, and will try to do that tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays here at the Rogers Center. So upstairs we go to Dan Shulman and Joe Siddall.
Jamie, thank you. We'll see what the offense can muster against the Rays tonight. On the mound, though, things look to be in pretty good hands. The last time we saw Dylan Cease was the All-Star game. The time before that, he almost threw a no-hitter.
First All-Star appearance, incredibly, for Dylan Cease, but he was excellent before the break, and in that last start in San Francisco, took a no-hitter into the ninth inning. Now, we knew when Dylan Cease signed that free agent contract with the Blue Jays, you know you're getting a great starting pitcher, but he's been that and then some. In a Blue Jays uniform, it's been a little bit different. He's added a couple of toys. He's using his arsenal a little bit differently. Always has the high velocity fastball, and he held that velocity all through that start against the Giants. He mixed in the breaking ball, the changeup to lefties. He's always got that slider. I think he wants the fastball back to Elliot Ramos right there in the ninth inning, but it was an outstanding outing for Cease. He rolled that right into a nice all-star appearance. Blue Jays know what they're getting here tonight, and it is a good one.
So an all-star on the mound for the Blue Jays, and an all-star is on the mound for the Rays as well. Right-hander Nick Martinez, who worked a scoreless fifth inning for the American League in Philadelphia. This is a very, very good pitching matchup here tonight.
Dan, thank you so much. Roof is open. Skies reasonably clear here in Toronto as we're set for first pitch on Sportsnet right after this.
Outdo anything. Outdo it with Intuit QuickBooks.
And ready to go with the roof open here to open up this four-game series between American League East divisional rivals, the Tampa Bay Rays, who actually come in here on a five-game losing streak. They just got swept by the Red Sox. Again, a couple of all-stars on the mound. Nick Martinez for Tampa Bay, Dylan Cease for the Blue Jays to open up this series. And we will show you now the lineup for the visiting Rays, and so much of their offense is concentrated in their top three. Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda, and then Junior Caminero, barely 23 years of age, has already hit 29 home runs this season. From there on down, there's a lot of contact, a lot of try to take the extra base, steal some bases, drop a bunt down, beat out an infield hit, that sort of thing, but most of the danger, Joe, lies up top.
And maybe Dylan Cease will use that strikeout power and potential to keep them off the bases and not allow balls to be put in play by these Rays hitters. He's coming off that good one. His ERA now down to 2.56 after that start in San Francisco before the break. But what I loved about it, yes, he held the velocity all the way through, but he mixed in the curveball and the changeup a lot to left-handed batters. It wasn't just four-seam slider, mixed in the sinker, the curveball to right-handers also to go with the four-seamer and the slider that we've talked about so much about. Faced the Rays earlier this season in the middle of May, went 7 innings, just 1 run, and struck out 9. He looks to repeat that tonight. Defensively behind Cease for the Blue Jays, Miles Straw gets the start in left field despite the righty Nick Martinez on the mound. Varsho and Lucas complete the outfield. And on the infield, it's Okamoto and Jimenez on the left side. Ernie Clement back at second base. Vladdy back at first base. And Alejandro Kirk back behind the plate.
4-game series, 3 night games, and then a day game on Thursday. And the Blue Jays, Jamie talked about it off the top of the show. Joe, you and I have talked about it. They're running out of days on the calendar right now. The trade deadline is 2 weeks away. The Blue Jays have 13 games between now and then. They are 7 games under and 4.5 back of the last wild card spot. In terms of the standings, that's the worst spot they've been in all season.
It is. It's as far down, and lots of teams that you're looking up at now. That makes it very difficult.
Got to put a run together, and soon, as the first pitch of the ball game is fouled off by Yandy Diaz. Second in the American League with a .310 batting average, an all-star this year. Coming off, though, an uncharacteristically very cold series against the Red Sox. Went 1 for 16. Boston swept a 4-gamer from Tampa Bay, and Kevin Cash, the Rays manager, was basically asked about, are you concerned about this? And he said part of it was the Red Sox are the hottest team on planet Earth right now. He thinks his team is fine, will start looking like themselves again. Look at that defensive swing and the 0-2 slider.
You can say that your team did not play well in a series, but I think you do have to certainly give credit to the other team. What Boston is doing right now is making a lot of teams not look real well.
The last time the Red Sox won 13 in a row, Ted Williams was playing for them. 1948. 0-2 is popped up. And we just saw 4 swings from one of the best contact hit for average guys in the majors, and none of them looked anything like his regular swing.
And the location of those last 2 pitches, both sliders, one just off the plate. But look where this is at. How are you going to do anything with that pitch when you know you're getting ready for potential triple digits with that heater?
1 down, and here is Jonathan Aranda, the first baseman. A curveball will drop in for a called strike. Aranda hitting .290. That is 5th in the American League. Tied for 5th in RBIs with 64. Again, a lot of danger up at the top. Diaz, Aranda, and then of course Caminero. Aranda, now in the hole 0-2, is also a childhood friend of Alejandro Kirk. They knew each other as kids, and they were teammates on Team Mexico with the WBC, and they were out visiting with one another several hours before the game today.
Kirk just gave a little head nod to Cease right there. First pitch breaking ball, you drop it in there, come back with the heater up top. He liked the pitch, he liked the location. See what they do. 0-2.
Do you think when the catcher has known the hitter since they were like 6 years old, that means the pitcher can't shake off the catcher?
I don't think it. You know what I do think is that when you know a catcher really well, you do learn like how he calls the game. So catchers have tendencies too.
Ooh, that'll sail on Cease, a changeup, and obviously not where he wanted that one.
Well, it's a pitch we've been seeing from Cease with a lot less velocity, more in that 80 range, and it's different. I don't think you want it that low for a guy that is in the upper 90s with the fastball.
And right back over the inside corner with a 2-seamer to freeze him.
And this is what I mean about broadening the arsenal in a Blue Jays uniform. A different looking pitcher. He was mostly a 4-seam fastball slider pitcher. In a Blue Jays uniform, he's mixing a few other wrinkles, and that's a sinker inside on the corner.
So 2 down, and now here is Caminero. Again, 29 home runs on the season. Had a streak earlier this year where he homered in 6 consecutive games, and he hit a total of 8 home runs in that 6-game span. He was an all-star. Slider down and away. So we saw the 2 that he threw to Yandy Diaz and getting the weak swings. That one looks like a ball out of the hand, so Caminero's not going to go after it.
A little too far out there. Caminero pretty disciplined. He'll chase, but he's not a big chaser for a guy that has power.
And he sends this one to deep left center field. It's going to be off the wall on a bounce. And he is into second base with a 2-out double on a ball that was in off the plate, and he didn't even really get it to the sweet spot and still hit it to deep left center.
It almost sounded like he broke his bat. Look where Kirk's set up, and that sinker's running in, and he just pulls the hands in. The only way you get to 97 in there is by really controlling that move, starting the barrel deep and catching it out there. Tight turn.
That is an impressive bit of hitting.
Yep.
Right there. A 2-out double. And now here's the veteran outfielder Cedric Mullins, the former Baltimore Oriole, signed in the offseason with the Rays. And so here is where, when you just look at the numbers, things really drop off for Tampa Bay. Mullins is hitting cleanup tonight. He's hitting 199 on the season, and he is 2 for his last 30. Change up, misses outside. 2-0.
He's had a little bit of Cease's number in a short sample. I wouldn't put too much stock into it, but surprising to see that a hitter like Mullins, 5 for 17 with a triple off Cease in his career.
A few years back, a really good offensive player, had a 30-30 season with the Orioles, had some good years with the Orioles, but has not been able to sustain that the last 2-3 seasons.
And I would argue Dylan Cease a little bit of a different pitcher now, as we've been talking about.
Yep. A check on Caminero, and the 2-1. Pulled foul, 2-2. Dylan Cease is on 12 days rest. Now, he went to the All-Star game. He started. He pitched an inning. But the Blue Jays wanted to back him up a little bit, so he's pitching in the 4th game out of the break. This also will get him into the series against the Red Sox.
He's a sinker in again, maybe.
A swing and a miss on a 4-seamer in 97, and a couple of strikeouts in the 1st for Dylan Cease. Can you imagine how much a guy like Ernie Clement must have enjoyed every single second that he was in Philadelphia?
And I'm sure it's a very busy few days and relishing every moment.
Line drive, left field, base hit. And this is going to be really interesting. The Blue Jays, although they haven't hit well this year, they do make a ton of contact. Nick Martinez is not overpowering, and he's in the zone constantly. There figures to be a ton of contact tonight, Joe. It's just a question, is it quality contact?
Yeah, he'll use both fastballs, the sinker, which that one was, and the 4-seamer. The changeup is his best pitch. Opponent's hitting just 138 against it. See lots of that to both righties and lefties from Martinez.
Nathan Lucas takes at the knees, and it's 0-1. He went 2 for 4 yesterday, had 2 of the 4 hits that the Blue Jays had yesterday, and both of them for Lucas were infield hits. One a ground ball to third for a base hit, and one a bunt single. The Blue Jays again with only 4 hits in the game yesterday, all singles, and only 1 of the 4 left the infield. They just could not muster any offense at all in that game.
And Martinez does a good job at suppressing hard contact. So yes, you put it in play, but not a lot of them are put in play firmly.
Interestingly, though not a huge ground ball guy, maybe that's the changeup. You'll generally get more pop-ups, fly balls on the changeup. One of the reasons why Miles Straw is in there instead of Jonathan Clase is to try to neutralize the changeup a little bit by putting another righty in there. Fouled back 1-2, and John Schneider also saying, as we were talking about moments ago, the ball's going to be in the zone.
Yeah.
And Miles Straw does make a ton of contact on pitches in the zone. Again, they're just hoping it's quality contact.
And the interesting part of that is that he will still throw the changeup to righties. It's even more effective against lefties, but it's good either way.
Of all qualified pitchers in the majors, and that means you've thrown 1 inning per the number of games your team has played, there are 58 such pitchers. His strikeout percentage is 58th. Again, he's really good. He's an all-star, but he's not doing it the typical way that guys are doing it these days.
Doesn't walk anybody, doesn't strike out people. A lot of balls in play, and as we said, though, if it's soft contact, you let your defense play.
Lucas battling. Clement at first. Nobody out in the bottom of the 1st. And a fly ball to left down the line. Simpson over towards the line to make the catch for the 1st out.
And there is said changeup defensively for Kevin Cash's club. That is Chandler Simpson getting the start again in left field. Cedric Mullins in center, and Victor Mesa Jr. a very good arm in right field. On the infield, Caminero and Walls, Palacios and Aranda. Nick Fortes calling the pitches for Martinez tonight.
So 1 on, 1 out now, and here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hitting .262. 2 for 8 in his career against Martinez. One of those is a home run, as the catcher Nick Fortes expected that to be called a strike, but it is just low for ball 1. Guerrero took BP on the field today, which he does not often do. And he'll lift a fly ball to right. Victor Mesa Jr. angling back to make the catch. 2 down. So Martinez's game, he knows there's going to be contact. He just tries to keep it, get it in on your hands, get it off the end of the bat, a little up, a little down, a little in, a little out. Weak contact.
Move the ball around, right sinker down, then he goes with the cutter up top. And we've always talked about pitching back and forth, in and out, up and down, changing it all around.
And a called strike to George Springer. Whenever you see Springer kind of bend back like that, that's him saying, I'm not sure that was a strike, but he will not challenge it, and it's 0-1. Springer has had some success against Martinez, has a couple of home runs off him, 6 for 17. One of those home runs was a couple of years ago when Martinez was with the Reds, and one was way back in 2017. Martinez was a Ranger, and Springer, of course, back then was an Astro. But I bet you both of them could tell you about that at bat, even though it was 9 years ago. Down low, ball 2. So you see 91 there. He'll get to 93, but really not much more than that with the fastball. But brings a 2.65 ERA into this game. The appeal down to first didn't go, and it's ball 3.
I think that first pitch to Springer, that sinker in, is just something to make him aware and knowing that they want to get George out away. Kind of set the tone early in the at bat.
There goes Clement, and it's ball 4 to Springer. So runners at first and second with 2 outs, and an opportunity now for Kazuma Okamoto. And of course, it's Kaz Okamoto t-shirt night here tonight. You see an even louder, or you hear rather, an even louder ovation for him. Perhaps because of that, the players were out wearing them during BP, and 15,000 fans have them as well. Okamoto lifts one to very shallow left. In comes Simpson. And that'll be that. So a hit, a walk, but 3 fly ball outs and no score after 1. By WestJet, official airline of the Toronto Blue Jays. It's another packed house. It's going to be 41,000 and something again here tonight.
Just a beautiful view, isn't it? Love those overheads of ballparks really like that. Yeah. The roof open. Beautiful.
No score, top 2. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Blue Jays tonight. And here's Chandler Simpson. The left fielder hitting .282 on the season, one of the fastest men in baseball. He has 33 infield hits this year. That leads the majors. Kevin Cash was talking about him before the game today and thought he got into a bit of a rut where he was trying to hit the ball a little too hard, was hitting it in the air. That's not his game.
And you see where Okamoto is at third base, playing way in on the turf.
With Simpson, for him to be successful, it's got to be line drives and, yes, ground balls, because anything he hits on the ground, he's got a chance to beat out. If he tries to hit one as far as he can, he's going to hit a shallow fly ball to somebody.
And this will be a good test for him. Not a lot of swing and miss in his game, but he's facing a guy on the mound that's got a lot of it.
And it's grounded down to third, right at Okamoto, and in time to get him for out number 1.
With 2 strikes as a third baseman, you back off a little bit, and that's a good thing he did. Right to Okamoto at third, now way back on the dirt. But this is Simpson's game right there. Just slash and run. If that's to Okamoto's right or left, things become very interesting.
1 down, and here's the right fielder, Victor Mesa Jr. This is the first time the Blue Jays are seeing him. He was not with the team back in early May when these teams in effect had a home-and-home series against one another, just separated by 3-4 days. He was a Marlin last year. The Rays got him in a minor league deal in the offseason, and he's putting up some numbers. He's got 7 home runs. He hit an inside the park home run at Fenway Park yesterday. And in 97 at bats, he has hit 7 home runs.
Making a good early impression.
Changeup up, but he fouled it back. 0-2. And we have not yet seen Cease kind of get that changeup down and away from the left-handed batters.
I wouldn't even call that changeup a great pitch, but it's just an extra pitch for these left-handed hitters to have to worry about.
0-2. Bounces in a slider. Pete Walker, pitching coach. Drew Butera, catching coach. Side by side as always, looking on. Taken low, so that's the changeup. That one down, but you could see that Mesa recognized it early.
That's the look you want, I think, if you're dealing with Cease for your changeup. And it's something that he is a student of the game. He's worked on that pitch just to mix it into left-handers effectively because of what it can help do to the other pitches.
And now a drive to deep center field. And Mesa's hit it out. We told you about the power. That is now 8 home runs in 98 at bats for Victor Mesa Jr., and he gives the Rays a 1-0 lead.
Well, when your stuff is as good as Dylan Cease's, oftentimes I say you don't necessarily have to hit your spots all of the time, but look where Alejandro Kirk is set up. In there for this sinker. We talked about the strikeout last inning. This one came back and caught a lot of the plate. Very different than the pitch that he struck out Cedric Mullins on. Young hitter made him pay.
412 feet. Mesa now has homered in 3 consecutive games, including that inside the Parker in Boston yesterday. Now a ball and a strike on the second baseman, Richie Palacios, hitting .240 on the season. Swings over the top of that, offering 1-2. Amazing, or maybe it isn't, the difference that 3 inches this way, 3 inches that way can make. It was the same pitch that he absolutely froze Jonathan Aranda on, but it just leaked back over the plate just a bit. Grounded towards first, and Cease will feed it on to Guerrero for out number 2.
Yes, such a fine line. He got Aranda looking on that sinker. He struck out Mullins with a 4-seamer in there, but location, location, location. But you can get away with that stuff with his stuff. But boy, that's a dangerous young hitter. And you just talked about the good start he's been off to at the Rays. Clearly, he's one of these young hitters. He might not be able to afford mistakes.
Now the catcher, Nick Fortes, lifts one to left center. Dalton Varsho's there, and that'll be that. The Mesa home run gives the Rays a 1-0 lead.
It's a great game if you like to major in the minors and break things down to their finest details, but you don't need a telescope to figure out why the Blue Jays offense and in turn their season has not been what they were expecting it to be, and it comes down to the 4 hitters in the core of their lineup who they expected to be carrying producers. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., George Springer, Alejandro Kirk, and Addison Barger. That's a quartet that at this time last year, going into the Blue Jays 100th game of the season, had nearly 200 RBIs. So far this year, they have less than 80, plus huge discrepancies in homers and wins above replacement. You know, the Blue Jays offense last year was great because it produced thump from its core pieces and contact and base running from down lineup players. And those complementary pieces, Zerny Clements, Nathan Lucases of the world, they've done their part. It's the players meant to be the heavy lifters that haven't.
Hardin, thank you. The numbers tell the story, and that has been one of the biggest stories, if not the biggest story for this team this year. Not that we need to do this, but if you put it into hockey terms, it'd be like your third and fourth liners are doing great, but you need your top 6 to put the puck in the net a lot, and they just haven't done it that much. So here's Dalton Varsho. This is way up in the air down the right field line and getting out of play. Now, in the case of Addison Barger, obviously he's barely played, so the reduction in his numbers is through no fault of his. He's had 3 different injuries. He's been on the IL almost the entire season. Kirk and Springer were both on the IL as well. Kirk for a long time. Springer for I think about 17 games. Guerrero relatively healthy, but they just, for whatever the reasons are, and it's a little bit different in the case of each of them, just not getting nearly the same production. Varsho with a pop-up. Palacios calls off Aranda, 1 down.
And Dalton's another one where they missed that power potential, that slug. He has not provided that. He was injured a lot last year, but when he was in there, he was hitting home runs, and those single swings of bats really can do a lot. Kirk back from his injury now, and that thumb should be plenty fine, but it's just, it has not. The remarkable part of it is the number of the names that you're rattling off. It'd be different if one of your big guys was not performing, but to have all of them. And that can be a reflection of, we've talked a lot with people from other teams too. I've talked to opposing coaches and the pitching in the game, how it's changed over the years and over the seasons. And I think the Blue Jays are, I thought early on this season they were starting to get pitched a little bit different. I think the game's becoming a little bit more east-west, and we're seeing it tonight with the Nick Martinez. More of the sinkers in, sliders, sweepers, breakers away to right-handed batters.
A hard hit, one hopper to short. Kirk retired.
And I don't think the Blue Jays hitters have made the proper adjustments. I mean, you would think that George Springer was going to come back this season, not having the same season he had last year. I don't think anybody expected that, but the fall off has just been that dramatic. And then for Vladdy, that's the puzzling one for not just us, not just Blue Jays coaches. I think everyone around baseball has chimed in on that one.
2 down. Here's Andres Jimenez. If you look at Jimenez, Straw, Lucas, Clement, just to name those 4, they're all pretty much in the same neighborhood as they were a year ago. Those guys are pretty much doing the same thing. But your dudes got to be your dudes.
I've always felt from very young ages, I don't care if the kids are 10 or 12 years old on a baseball team or high school or college, your best players have to be your best players for your offense to succeed. The complementary pieces can contribute, maybe carry you for a week, but they're not going to carry you for 6 months.
Seen little signs of it here and there. A good few days for Guerrero, a good few days for Springer, et cetera, but nothing that any of the guys really has been able to sustain for long periods of time. Well-hit ball straight away center field, but caught about 393 feet away by Cedric Mullins, and the Blue Jays go down in order in the bottom of the 2nd. First 15,000 fans of the ballpark will receive a back-to-back replica statue giveaway. The newly unveiled statue honors the 1992 and 93 teams who brought back-to-back World Series titles to Toronto. Get your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Of course, Joe Carter hitting the World Series winning home run. The statue commemorating the 2 teams in their entirety. Here's a ball pulled into right field, a base hit and maybe more for Taylor Walls as Lucas has to play it off the wall. And Walls, the number 9 hitter, just a .218 hitter on the season, opens up the 3rd with a double.
Well, if you're a number 9 hitter, and Taylor Walls certainly not known for his bat, more so the glove, but he just got up there and looked for a first pitch fastball, I think, and got it, ripping it into that right field corner.
He may be the best defensive shortstop in baseball, but as you say, he is not known for his offense, has never been a prolific hitter. And now a throw by Cease over the head of Clement, and that will allow Walls to come to 3rd.
Well, it's not the first time we have seen this from a Blue Jays pitcher, but watch Dylan Cease when he turns. He just really feels for that baseball and just launches it.
It's the kind of thing, and not just speaking about Dylan Cease, just pitchers in general at times, that is a little bit baffling because they can, you know, they can thread the needle going this way, but it's sometimes a lot harder for them going that way.
60 feet 6 inches is okay, but that's their max.
So now the infield is in for the Blue Jays, and
Taylor Walls is such a good base stealer that I'm sure the threat was there early and they wanted to maybe just keep him close, but sometimes you can just do that with a little inside move. Just let him know that you're paying attention.
Yandy Diaz, the batter, he popped up his first time up. It's a ground ball to second, backhanded by Clement. They'll get the out. Walls sized it up and thought better to go back to third. One down in the inning.
A good pitch down in the zone to get Diaz to pound it in the dirt, but you see Walls, this is not a contact play with nobody out. And a nice little short hop pick. There's Walls thinking, but no, infield's in. Nope, got to make sure, especially with your big boy still coming up.
With one out, much more likely the contact play is on. We will see. Here's Jonathan Aranda. Throw down to third. Walls back in safely.
Easier throw for a catcher to pick off at third base with that left-handed batter. You've got that freedom of that right-handed batter's box. Give it a shot. And that's the type of play that can at least let that runner on third know that, hey, we're keeping you close. Maybe it shortens his secondary lead by a step or a step and a half, so that if he is going on contact, maybe your infielders have a split second, a little extra time.
But boy, could Dylan Cease use a strikeout here, and he is second in the major leagues in strikeouts behind only Jacob Mizorowski. Can he get Aranda? The 1-1. Fouled it back, and now he's out in front, 1-2. I think this guy, Aranda, is one of the more respected hitters in the game by his peers, by the other players. I mean, the numbers are very good, but he gives you a professional at bat.
Not a big name in the game, right?
Yeah.
But then, boy, when you see him for 3 or 4 days in a row.
Changeup, bounced in, 2-2. That was a 78-mile-an-hour changeup.
I don't understand the call, though. You're going for a strikeout here. You're trying to get swing and miss. That is not swing and miss. I don't think he gets swing and miss on the changeup, but you don't want to go, I don't think, to your third and fourth pitch in a situation like this. You've got to go to your bread and butter. Most times that's the four-seamer or the slider.
The 2-2. Fastball grounded to second and into right. Hit sharply and under the glove of Clement, and the second run of the night comes in to score.
Well, that's too bad. Cease got the ground ball just to Ernie's left, and it looked like it just went under his glove. It did.
It will go as a base hit. You can see the frustration for Clement. So it's an RBI single for Aranda. Do you think the run scores even if Ernie gets the ball?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if the ball's hit hard, if he comes up with that, that's very interesting at the plate.
Yeah, he was going.
Yeah,
contact play was on.
Yeah, it's Walls can run. He's a good run, but that would have been very interesting.
Now a ground ball to second off the bat of Caminero. There's one, and on to first, not in time. And let's see if the Blue Jays want to challenge. John Schneider looking back to DeMarlo Hale. No challenge, so that'll be a fielder's choice, and the inning will continue.
Ernie making sure he had the grab of the baseball there, and with Jimenez having to come a long way, he's got to glove that ball and kind of throw on the run. Makes it a little late.
Jimenez and Clement communicating based on where they're set up on the infield right now with Cedric Mullins, the batter. Clement is way over towards first base, way in the 3-4 hole, and Jimenez playing up the middle. So if Mullins were to hit a ground ball to Okamoto, it's Jimenez who is going to the bag at second, not Clement. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Just high, ball 2. So a leadoff double for Walls got all this going. A throwing error on Cease allowed Walls to come to third. Cease got the first out without the run scoring, but then Aranda drove it in. Caminero reaching on a fielder's choice. And now 2-2 on Mullins. Now the 2-2, and this is popped up for Okamoto, and the Rays are retired, but they do add to their lead. It's now 2-0. On Saturday, August 15th, specialty ticket purchasers will receive a Blue Jays plush Air Bear. Bring a little extra cheer to game day and show your Blue Jays some love. Get your specialty tickets today at bluejays.com/promotions. Bottom of the third here at Rogers Center. Dan Schulman, Joe Siddall, Arden Zwelling. The Rays are out to a 2-0 lead. One in the second, one in the third. Here's Miles Straw getting a start in left field tonight, batting ninth. Again, the reason for Straw, not Clase. John Schneider, part of it was defensive, but part of it was maybe taking a little bit of that changeup away from Martinez, a bit more of a weapon generally against lefties. And part of it was knowing the ball would be in the zone. There would be contact, just hoping it would be hard contact, but that doesn't happen there. But a ground ball to short, one down.
Nick Martinez with a very interesting windup, a lot of movement. It's almost like he's hurrying, like rushing to you. You wonder if that's part of the deception that he provides with his pitches too. Watch all of the movement in his delivery. It's almost like he's pitching from the stretch, but then he really gets going.
And a soft liner to short. Ernie Clement now 1 for 2. Nick Martinez makes me jittery.
It reminds you a little bit of Kevin Gausman, the way he's back and forth, but this is from the windup, and then he's going to step back and initiate the delivery. So there's a lot going on there. I'm sure as a hitter, like even in that situation there, as a hitter, it looked like Ernie was jumping out there. It gets you moving a little bit more quickly, and then you're out front.
All right, quick thought. 3 pitches, 2 outs. Does Lucas have to take till he gets a strike? You know, drag out this inning a little bit?
I think he will at least take a pitch. I don't know about take till a strike, but even if that's a ball, he might swing at the next pitch, but you just got to slow things down. Exactly. And that's tough when you've got the number 9 hitter and then Ernie up.
And again, not that we see every Nick Martinez start, obviously, but having seen enough of them and talking to Rays people and so on, this is how a Nick Martinez start looks when things are going well. The ball's in play constantly, but there's not very much hard contact. And what John Schneider has been pleading for is hard contact, is not guys just trying to put it in play. He talked about it after the game yesterday and basically boiled it down to need doubles, need home runs, need hard hit balls.
How many times have we heard the word slug out of John Schneider's mouth this year? It's what they're desperately missing. You can't be a team that, yeah, you're hitting for decent average, but the slug's not there. It's not a team that hits a lot of extra base hits. It's not a team that's going to steal a bunch of bases. You have to slug the baseball.
They are tied for 23rd out of 30 teams in home runs, and I bet you that's better than many people watching this game tonight would have thought. They are 24th in OPS, on base plus slugging, but they are 29th in runs scored. Part of that, they don't walk very much, and they haven't done well with runners in scoring position. Everybody knows that story. Up the middle, and that'll get through. A base hit for Lucas.
Good job by Nathan. This cutter coming down and in, and he stays on and through that pitch very well.
Second hit of the night for the Blue Jays, a 2-out single for Lucas, and that'll bring up Guerrero, retired on a fly ball to right in his first at bat. Guerrero with a fly ball to left field. Simpson going back and makes the catch a couple of feet in front of the fence. A changeup, and Vladdy got it just off the end of the bat.
Simpson coming to the plate, and look at Simpson and Ernie Clement, two underlooked players in today's game. Two guys who would have fit right in the 70s and 80s. Went out of vogue a little bit, but the Blue Jays and Rays have found ways to fit them into their lineups and get the most out of their somewhat antiquated games. Chandler Simpson, over his last 23, is hitting a 349, the 378 on base, and a 465 slug. That part's a little bit unusual. 8 extra base hits over his last 23 games, 9 steals and 9 runs scored. Of course, the Rays can make this work because they have the thumpers atop their lineup, and Caminero, Diaz, and Aranda doing the slugging, while the guys towards the bottom do the contact and base run.
Arden, thank you. You don't think of Chandler Simpson as being a number 5 hitter. He is often hit at the top, he is often hit at the bottom, but right now Kevin Cash, and you can't blame him, like he's got 3 guys who are significantly more productive than anybody else. Diaz, Aranda, Caminero. He's hitting the 1, 2, 3. And then Mullins 4, Simpson, who went around there, so it's 0-2, hitting in the 5 spot. Simpson grounded out to third, his first time up. Curveball down low, ball 1. Check the swing on that high fastball. 2-2. A second-round pick back in 2022. Second year in the big leagues. Changeup to get him, 1 down.
Now there's some swing and miss on that changeup, but that's a good example of, I think he gets swing and miss on changeups, but when Aranda is at the plate, it's a different story for me.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order in the Subway app using the code STRIKEOUT. Third strikeout of the night for the American League leader in that department, Dylan Cease. Back to the changeup again. And for the 4th start in a row, the velocity on the Cease changeup, not the other pitches, just the changeup, is noticeably down. It had been like 84 most of the year, and now it's more like 80. And it is not a grip change. It is just kind of getting his legs into it a little bit less. It appears to be a conscious thing to throw that changeup even slower than he was earlier in the season.
And I think, too, if you're trying to command a pitch a little bit better, and it said Dylan's a cerebral guy. You talk to him about pitching. He is a student of the game. And I think if he wants to control it better, you might subconsciously sometimes take velocity out. I mean, do you think it's on purpose? Do you think you're trying to? I don't see why you want to throw your changeup 79, 80 miles per hour when your fastball is 97 to 99.
Most pitchers will tell you the ideal is about 10 miles an hour slower than the fastball. His was already about 13. Now it's about 17. Again, every pitcher's different, right? They've all got different keys.
Different pulleys, Now, is he trying to do that?
This is down the right field line, but foul. I'll tell you what he's doing. He's throwing it a lot right now.
And are you trying? Maybe he's trying to control it a little bit better, have better command of it, maybe locate it better. And in doing so, is he not using his bottom half as much if it's the legs that he's taking out of it, whatever the case may be? In any event, I still don't see it as a pitch that I'm going to use in a critical spot against one of the tough hitters. You may sprinkle it around against the other guys in the lineup throughout the count.
Swing and a miss. The put away slider down and in, 2 down.
And that is a put away slider. Most of his strikeouts are going to come to the four seam fastball and the slider. Been his 2 best pitches for years.
On the season, by the way, back to the changeup, Cease throwing it 11% of the time on the season, 18% of the time so far here tonight. Curveball in for a strike. And different lineups have different strengths and weaknesses, and obviously they've gone over the scouting reports for all 9 guys.
And a lot of lefties in the lineup today. Kevin Cash has 6 lefties, 6 batting left-handed. Taylor Walls being a switch hitter. I don't think Taylor Wall is going to get a first pitch fastball next time, though.
Two down. Richie Palacios is the batter. And this is popped up back of the plate. Kirk having a look, but it's in the seats and it's 0-2. Joe, he makes me jittery, even between innings, even when he's pacing.
I don't know what I'd do if I was his catcher. Well, everyone has a routine. We can see what his is.
Close, but no, ball 1.
Let's just say pitchers are different animals. It's not like he's wants his privacy at all. Quite, he's talking to people. Well, he's the social butterfly.
Yeah. Went around, and Dylan Cease strikes out the side. 5 strikeouts now on the night. Roll out to Rogers Center on Saturday, August 1st, as the Jays celebrate Transformers Day. Be one of the first 15,000 through the gates to receive your very own Blue Jays Transformers hat featuring interchangeable front patches. And stick around after the game for a post-game screening of Transformers, the movie, to celebrate its 40th anniversary. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions for more details. The bottom of the 4th in the opening game of a 4-game series between the Rays and the Blue Jays. The Rays are 5-1 against the Blue Jays this year. All of those games happened back in May. A sweep down in St. Petersburg, 2 out of 3 here in Toronto. And it's 2-0 Rays in this one, with George Springer, Kazuma Okamoto, and Dalton Varsho coming up. Springer walked in the first. Lined off the glove of a leaping Caminero and into left field for a base hit.
George had a good plate appearance in the first, drawing a walk, and this time he gets a first pitch, look like a cutter down in the zone and middle, and that's what he's looking to do. Look for something middle in and pull it in the air. This one's on a line.
Leadoff man aboard, and here's Kazuma Okamoto. Hit a fly ball to shallow left his first time up. missed a pitch that got a lot of the plate, and we've seen a fair bit of that the last few days. He did not have a hit in the White Sox series, went 0 for 11, and it wasn't all chase this, got fooled on that. Some of it was
missing pitches.
Yeah, the pitches that we've seen him club at times in this season. 0-2.
It's the continual game with pitchers, how you think they're going to pitch you. You get thinking one way and you miss a pitch maybe you should handle.
And another fly ball, not deep. That's an 0-2 pitch. Again, got a lot of the plate. Not exactly where Martinez wanted it, but Okamoto having trouble squaring things up right now.
But again, this is what you've been talking about, Nick Martinez. He goes sinker, he goes cutter, and then this is the outstanding changeup we talked about at the outset. And you can see, even though it's on the middle of the plate, after those other two pitches, he's out front. We saw Vladdy finish off that third inning with a fly ball to left that almost got out, but just out front. He keeps you off balance. He stays off the barrel.
Springer was twitching a little bit over there, might have been on the move, but he draws a throw. And the more a team struggles, maybe the more likely they are to try to put a man into motion. And I think George was going.
Yeah.
He is 6 for 8 on the season. He's going now, and it's out of the mid of the catcher Fortes. Stolen base number 7 for Springer.
Well, it's a slider down glove side for the catcher. That's always a tougher one to handle, and he tries to backhand it and he comes up empty. It bounced a little short hop, couldn't come up with it, so George took off on a good pitch.
1-0 on Dalton Varsho. And a ground ball pulled to second, dropped. Picked up by Palacios. He'll get the out. 2 down as Springer comes to third.
Especially with the lefties, you keep that changeup away and you get a guy like Varsho out front. So many left-handed hitters will come around that baseball, and mission accomplished for Martinez. He'll give up the 90 feet for Springer at third for that out.
2 down, and here's Kirk, who grounded out to short, hit it sharply on one hop and right at Walls. Takes a fastball in there, 0-1. They have scored just 1 run in their last 23 innings coming into this inning. Got 1 run on Saturday, enough to win it. Did not score yesterday, haven't scored tonight, didn't score the last couple of innings on Friday. They had shown some really good signs at times in San Francisco and in San Diego, but it has dried up on them again here.
There's another example. Alejandro took the first pitch sinker right in the middle of the plate and then swings at the next one that's running in on him.
Up and away, ball 1. Two down. Springer walking down the line at third. He can get a healthy lead. 1-2 pitch in the dirt, and a block by Fortes. And again, with the third baseman Caminero playing way back, Springer's got a really big lead at third, so Fortes has to keep it fairly close to him.
Well, the Blue Jays will take a run any way they can, and George was coming off that bag pretty aggressively just for that reason right there. If that scoots away from the catcher anymore, and that's what catchers are trying to do when you block the baseball, is to keep it close to you. The old adage is to keep it in the dirt.
And again, that walking lead, making sure Caminero's not racing in behind him. The 2-2. Through the right side, a base hit. Kirk with an RBI single to cash in Springer and to make it a 2-1 game.
Well, that is certainly a good piece of two-strike hitting there by Alejandro, and we've seen him. That's what he does when he's at his best, and George Springer just almost did that by himself. He flattens the bat at the top of the zone as good as anyone in the game. That's what he can do well, and he punches it just hard enough past Aranda into right.
Now Andres Jimenez hit a fly ball to the warning track in straightaway center field his first time up. I'm a little surprised that Aranda is kind of sort of holding Alejandro Kirk on. Kirk's obviously not going anywhere, and he's giving up a little bit of reflex timing and range.
Did you say they knew each other?
They know each other. Maybe he just wants to talk to his childhood buddy. Yeah. But I would think he'd be playing 10, 15 feet behind him just to give himself a little bit more time to knock a ball down.
Especially with the left-handed hitter, right?
Yeah.
See, they're catching up. That's what it is.
Don't sleep on me, Kirk is saying. Play left side, 2-2.
Now if Jimenez can just pull one right past him down that right field line.
Now Palacios, the second baseman, is really shading over there, but Aranda's staying close to that bag. Foul off. Martinez sets, and again the 2-2, and again Jimenez fights it off.
Most of the pitches on the outer part of the plate to Jimenez. Came in that time.
With a guy like this, you can't really guess a pitch. You just got to react to what you see.
I think especially with two strikes, you're trying to cover so much because of all the variety of pitches that he throws, especially the lefties. He's almost using like all 5 pitches.
Change up high, and it's 3-2. Kirk will be on the move. Now Aranda backs up to play behind him with a full count and 2 down. And the pitch. And it's hit in the air to right field. But it's going to be caught shy of the track by Mesa. Jimenez flies out. The Blue Jays do get their first run of the night, a 2-out RBI single off the bat of Alejandro Kirk, lining one into right field, cashing in George Springer. The Blue Jays have a run.
Strikeout Spotlight is brought to you by Subway. Eat fresh, feel good. And here's a look at Dylan Cease's handiwork this evening. 5 strikeouts after striking out the side in the third. A lot of good work to his glove side here tonight. And so far in this game, Cease has a strikeout with all 5 of his pitches. So each of the 5 strikeouts has come on a different pitch. He also has called strikes with all 5 of his pitches. Remember, his 27 called strikes in the no-hit bid against San Francisco Giants. That was a career high. And the changeup, that's been the most noticeable difference for Cease here. The velocity has been down as Joe has been spotlighting, averaging 80.5 miles per hour on it. That's about 3 miles per hour down from his season average, but his whiff rate on the pitch, that's still tied for the highest of all pitches in MLB with Aaron Ashby's slider. So what Cease is doing with it is certainly working.
Carter, thank you. And you'll remember, Joe, back in spring training, too. It was a pitch that Dylan Cease was really working hard on just to get comfortable with. They were, his first year as a Blue Jay, and the pitching coaches were tinkering with this, and so was he. And it was a pitch he kind of came into the season not really sure where it was, and it's become a big part of his arsenal this year.
It's what attracted Dylan Cease to the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, he told us about his visits with the Blue Jays as a free agent and the things that they thought about what he did and what maybe he can do, some tweaks he can make. And as I said, as a student of the game, the word was curious that I heard a lot. He was very curious about ways he could continue to try to get better. And more so than anything, I think he's striving for consistency. There's no question about the stuff. But even in his career, it's that top 5 Cy Young, then 4.5 ERA. Top 5 Cy Young, 4.5 ERA. And now he's looking for that consistency within a season with a few new toys.
And if the season were to end today, he would comfortably be top 5 Cy Young in the American League. He would probably finish second to Cam Schlittler of the Yankees. He started the All-Star game. Because he's so talented, sometimes maybe the results get taken for granted a little bit. But even though you always feel there's another level, he's having a fantastic season.
He had a little hiccup when he had that hamstring injury, missed a couple of weeks. But he had gone 3 straight starts, 7 innings to begin the month of May.
Ground ball towards third. Okamoto charges, and the throw pulls Guerrero off the bag. And I think it hit the runner, Fortes, who was into second. And that is going to be the second error committed by the Blue Jays in this game.
Well, it's Nick Fortes, the catcher, running. He has to throw this ball on the run, but it's up into the runner, went off Vladdy's glove. But Fortes does a good job. He crosses that first base bag and he immediately knows to turn to his left. Quick little peek to his right, boom, gone. And that's what base runners are taught. Cross that bag, peek to your right. If there's an overthrow, that's where it'll be.
Walls squares and gets it down. Okamoto's got this one. And the number 9 hitter Walls with a sacrifice to advance Fortes to third. By the way, the scoring on the Fortes play, an infield hit and then an error charged to Okamoto. So
Rays baseball here, right?
Baseball, right? This is how they play this year. So you've had weak contact, but now you got a runner at third, 1 out, and the infield is in, and they're threatening to add to their lead. We saw with a runner at third and 1 out back in the 3rd inning, Walls, who runs very well, the contact play was on. I don't know if that's the case with Fortes, the catcher, although he runs pretty well, but he might not be automatically coming to the plate on a ground ball.
I would say not with Aranda on deck. At the top of the order here, you've got 2 of your big guys with an opportunity to cash in a run.
Diaz will hit the ball on the ground. Dylan Cease has his highest ground ball rate in years. Just a little low, and it's 2-1.
And that ground ball rate is interesting too, that Dylan Cease, with throwing his pitches a little bit more differently, maybe being a little bit more unpredictable with more pitches. In the past, if hitters are just looking four-seamer or slider, they can maybe sit on one and square them up a little bit more, drive them a little bit more, but with that unpredictability comes maybe more ground balls.
That fastball sails high, ball 3. You can see the way Cease caught the ball, kind of snapped his glove at it a little bit, and one of the signs sometimes that a pitcher's a little frustrated with that last pitch. Ground ball to short and through Jimenez. And the Blue Jays having a rough night defensively as Tampa Bay takes a 3-1 lead.
So frustrating for a pitcher. You get a guy like Diaz, did the ground ball right to your shortstop, and Andres just pops up. Very uncharacteristic of him. He's in good position, but it just ate him up a little bit with the infield in. Frustrating pitcher right there.
Second error of the inning, 3rd of the game committed by the Blue Jays, and it is 3-1. And now here's Aranda. You know, if you think back to the play Clement didn't make and now the play Jimenez made, having to come in makes those plays more challenging.
For sure.
The ball gets on you quicker. But the reason the runners got to third, like they never should have been there, right? There was the throwing error on Cease and then a throwing error on Okamoto. Like if they're playing clean, it's a 1-1 game.
But they just keep putting the ball in play, making things happen. Put a ball in play, third baseman throws it away, you get a bunt down. You put pressure on the defense, and a pressure defense can have some hiccups, and we've seen it this inning.
The 1-2 to Aranda. Check the swing, and it's 2-2. It also makes Dylan Cease, and listen, one of the errors was his, but that runner was already on base. What's happened this inning not only has added a runner, it also makes him throw a lot of extra pitches here this inning.
And he made a real good pitch to Diaz, a 3-1 curveball. I think he's thinking, hey, if I walk him, so what? And he puts it in play on the ground, just what you wanted.
With Fortes running, and the ball was hit right at Jimenez and hit pretty sharply. I think they've got him pretty easily.
I think so too.
Yeah. And he's still thinking about it.
Yep.
See it.
Yes. Yeah. That look on his face right there.
So the errors on Cease, Okamoto, and Jimenez in this game. Way out in front of the changeup, and it's popped up. And Clement will make the play in foul territory. Out number 2, and this is what the Rays do. You can call it small ball, you can call it whatever you want. They get bunts down, they have infield hits, they put the ball in play, they run, and they put pressure on the opposing defense.
Well, I'd like to say that baseball evolves over the years. That's kind of that old-time baseball approach we saw so much years ago, but the game could be coming back. We're seeing more and more teams. We saw the Blue Jays last year. Everything was about contact, putting the ball in play. The Milwaukee Brewers is another one that they get to the playoffs a lot doing that, playing that style of baseball. And I think for an era there, we saw the pitching take over this game where it was too hard to string hits together, so everyone leaned into the launch and trying to hit home runs, and we saw so much of the 3 true outcomes. But now managers around the game and clubs in general might be seeing the benefit of putting balls in play. Now, is this the type of offense that can go deep in October? With their pitching, it could. It's the pitching that's going to do it. But aside from the 3 guys at the top of the lineup, if all your complementary pieces can keep playing that little small ball game that we just showed in the graphic, and then these guys do their damage, it makes it very interesting.
This is the biggest exception. Obviously, this is the do the damage guy.
Yep.
29 home runs for Junior Caminero. Blocked by Kirk. The Rays don't spend a lot of money, and power is expensive. To go out and get a guy who's going to hit you 35 home runs a year costs a lot of money. So they wind up being in the situation because of the low payroll where they tend to have this kind of an offense maybe a little bit more often from year to year than other teams.
That's a very good point, because you become a pitching factory, so your pitching is strong, and good pitching keeps you in a lot of ball games. And you just have to try to score enough. It feels like it's Rays baseball we've been talking about for years.
Runner goes. And there's no throw. That'll be a stolen base for Yandy Diaz.
He was gone. He was leaning, and Dylan did not even pay attention, and that has to frustrate a manager. That look on John Schneider's face right there. He's basically gone before he lifted his leg, and that's why Alejandro didn't even move.
And now a base hit into left. Up with it, Straw. Diaz around third. The throw to the plate up the line. The run scores. The throw to second. They got him. But the stolen base and the base hit, of course, lead to another run. And it's 4-1 Rays. Let's get an update now with Jamie Campbell. Jays Care 50-50 jackpot of the summer is less than 2 weeks away from being awarded, and it is projected to surpass $2 million. And there are also still once-in-a-lifetime getaways to Hawaii and the Amalfi Coast to win as well. Get your tickets now at BlueJays.com/50-50 from participating provinces. Bottom 5, and it's 4-1 Rays. Both of those runs in the top half of the inning unearned. 2 errors in the top half of the 5th. It'll be Miles Straw, Ernie Clement, and Nathan Lucas. Straw 0 for 1 on a ground ball to short. This is popped up right near the plate. Fortes the catch, 1 down. So Nick Martinez so far tonight has given up a run on 4 hits. All the hits are singles. The run came in on a 2-out RBI single by Alejandro Kirk to score George Springer in the 4th. Ernie Clement is 1 for 2, a base hit, and then a liner to short. Change up at the top of the zone for a called strike. Makes Clement reach for a cutter away, and it's 0-2. This is kitchen sink.
Yeah. Lots of pitches.
Now the elevated fastball up at the letters, and Clement protects and fouls it back.
Well, Nick Fortes came out of his stance to give that target, and Nick Martinez hit his target. It's exactly where they wanted to go. No bones about it. Kneeling upright back there.
Look how far off the plate he's set up now. And again, Clement has to reach for it. Rolls one out to short, 2 down.
Well, Nick Martinez is not going to impress you with all of the velocity numbers that we read about so often, but he is a good pitcher. He really defines the art of pitching, what he is doing again here. And yes, you could say it's against a lineup that's struggling, but just that sequence right there to Ernie. You elevate the fastball, then you go back down with a little breaker and get him to expand.
You hear the phrase a comfortable 0 for 4 and really starters hardly see guys 4 times in the same game anymore, but the point is this would be that, but it's a comfortable 0 for 4, but it's also got to be a very frustrating 0.
Very frustrating.
Yeah. And remember John Schneider's plea, as he said again after the game yesterday, and we mentioned earlier tonight, it's not about contact. Martinez has not struck out a batter tonight.
Right.
Contact is not the problem. Quality contact has been the problem.
He's talked so much about their offense being an offense that if you're not going to slug the baseball extra bases and hit home runs, you need to be able to take some walks. Well, to take walks, you can't be chasing the way they. It's just this vicious cycle offensively that they have not been able to. They've just been spinning their wheels.
Lucas had a fly ball to left in the 1st and a base hit up the middle in the 3rd. You know, David Popkins, and I mean, they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to find what they had last year, just have not been able to get it. Grounded up the middle to his right, Palacios. The throw gets by Aranda. Backed up by Fortes. Lucas aboard.
Nice made by Palacios going to his right. May have had time to plant his feet, but chose to make the off balance throw, and it comes up very short. And Aranda is not one of your better gloves at first base. No chance picking that ball.
And Lucas is credited with a base hit on that play. So he is at first, 2 down. And now Kyle Snyder, the pitching coach, is on his way to the mound for a conversation with Martinez about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who it feels like, Joe, tell me if you feel this way, in both at bats, it feels like Guerrero just missed, felt he just missed, just couldn't get the best part of the bat on it. Got it in the air both times, but never got it all.
And well, especially that last one is a first pitch changeup, and we've said it's Nick Martinez's best pitch. I don't think you're going up looking for a changeup from him when it's your best pitch, so he was just fooled by that. And when he is right, I think if he's going up looking for a pitch, he lays off that pitch rather than maybe getting himself out by getting off the end of the bat. So is he close? I mean, it's hard to say. It looks like it at times, but until you see the results.
Takes it high, ball one. Had a good night Friday night. Had a double off the center field wall Saturday. Had an 0 for 4 yesterday. High ball 2. Pitch and another shallow fly ball, the kind of thing Martinez has been getting off of tonight, and the more frustration for Guerrero. Well, there's a huge disparity in the major leagues between the top payrolls and the bottom payrolls, and look at how well some of the smallest payroll teams are doing. The Marlins are good this year. The Rays are good almost every year. The Guardians are doing Guardian kind of things. The Nationals are at 500. The Twins, who certainly didn't give off the vibe of a contender after they unloaded so many guys last year, they've got a shot to contend for a playoff spot. Varsho's still going back, runs out of room. And Cedric Mullins opens up the 6th with a home run, and it makes it 5-1.
You mentioned his power earlier when he struck out in the first inning, and Dylan Cease went after him with a fastball. This is a 30-homer guy in the past, not that anymore, but he got a first pitch curveball. He must have been looking for it. I can't imagine you go up there and just hit a first pitch curveball, even though it's hanging in the middle of the plate, out of the ballpark. That's not small ball.
So Dylan Cease, who had not given up a home run in any of his last 6 starts, has given up 2 here tonight. Simpson sends it foul down the line, and it's 1-1. So it's been a combination tonight for the Rays. They've hit 2 solo homers, and the other 3 runs a combination of putting the ball in play and the Blue Jays kicking it around.
Of their style of play, right? Put it in play and force errors.
A called strike, 1-2.
I mean, if you're a player with the Tampa Bay Rays, you know what the recipe is. That's what they have been about. You're a team that's going to cause havoc. Hopefully your big boys can do some things, play defense and pitch. And you get all of your big boys to buy into that, you have a nice little recipe there, and that's what Kevin Cash has brewing. Sure, they have some down years like anyone, but it's an exciting brand. But that, going back to the payrolls graphic we were talking about, that's, you're right, 30 and 40 home runs, that costs money. They have to do it other ways, and they're a pitching factory.
Didn't make the playoffs either of the last 2 years, and prior to that they had made the playoffs 5 consecutive years, but 80 wins last year, or 77 last year, 80 the year before. Even on this 5-game losing streak, they are still the leaders in the American League East, a game and a half up on the Yankees. Outside and a full count on Simpson, and you saw Pete Walker was on the phone, so we would imagine somebody is getting up soon. And ball 4 to put Simpson on.
Bring the colors of the ballpark to your home with Beauty Tone Paint's Toronto Blue Jays collection. Only at Home Hardware and Building Centers.
Braden Fisher's up in the pen. And here's Victor Mesa Jr., who has homered and struck out. And this is the other concern now. Chandler Simpson, as fast as they come, but the stolen base percentage is not what you would think it would be. He has stolen 23 bases, but he's been caught 11 times.
That could be a combination of maybe not getting good pitches to go on. Maybe he's run on some fastballs that catchers have been able to handle and throw easily, or just not getting great jumps. Tremendous speed does not just translate into a ton of stolen bases. So if they could do their part, Cease and Kirk, at not letting them get a great jump, maybe got a shot.
A longer hold here by Cease. Runner going. Pitch taken. Throw down. Tag. Not in time.
Well, Alejandro did what he could. He got rid of that baseball very quickly. Good jump by Simpson. It was a changeup away. The ball up and away is a good pitch. It's like a mini pitch out, but it was a changeup from Cease.
Number 24 on the season for Simpson. Still nobody out.
Keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on him.
Mesa chops it foul. It's 1-2. Okamoto backed up a little bit just behind the baseline now. He can see Simpson better. And a swing and a miss. Now you got to watch him. Kirk down to first to complete the out. But he made sure he gave Simpson a good long look at second before he made that throw.
And even that, it's a very little thing, but for a hitter like Mesa Jr. there to swing and miss, understanding the ball is in the dirt, get out of the batter box. Not everybody does that. I don't know why, but not everybody does that. So now you force the catcher to get up from behind the plate, make a good throw to first base. You've got a flyer on second. You just never know what can happen. But this is just yet another example of playing the game the right way.
One down, sixth strikeout of the night for Cease. And here's Richie Palacios, who has grounded out and struck out in his 2 times up. Jimenez at short, playing up the middle, trying to keep Simpson close. So a big hole between short and third. And a balk has been called on Cease.
Did he flinch before he stepped off, maybe? He doesn't think he balked. He wants to know what he did. That runner at second base can cause you to just flinch, and if he just stepped off with his back foot, you can't move your body first. Yeah, right there. You see his shoulder shrugged. It was a little flinch, almost more with his upper body before he stepped off.
So that gets Simpson to third. That forces the infield in. The bunt popped up as Kevin Cash put the safety squeeze on.
I mean, we've been talking about this raised baseball thing from the beginning, like we knew it was going to happen tonight. Kevin Cash has got it on full display.
Yep. One, two. With Simpson at third and 1 out, anything on the ground, he's coming home 110%.
Yep.
And it would have to be hit sharply right at somebody and a good throw made to the plate to have a chance to get him. Here's where a strikeout would really do see some good.
I think you got to go breaking ball here. You can handle the fastball. There it is.
The slider to get him. 2 down.
It's easy to say that with Cease on the mound because the slider is such a good swing and miss pitch, but we've seen him go with the fastball. He elevated the previous pitch, but if you stay hard there, I just think the likelihood of a ball in play increases. Great pitch.
So now, of course, the infield can back up with 2 outs, and here's Nick Fortes, the catcher. 1 for 2, had an infield hit and scored an inning ago. Good slider, swung on and missed, 0-1. Ground ball to third. Okamoto's got it and throws him out. Mullins homers. It's now 5-1 Rays going to the bottom of the 6th. Become a Rogers customer and be a part of Canada's winning inning. When the Blue Jays get a hit this inning, you can win exclusive 50th season prizes. Visit Rogers.com today. Well, inning by inning, the hill to climb here for the Blue Jays is getting a little bit steeper. They are down 5-1 right now, bottom of the 6th inning. It'll be Springer, Okamoto, and Varsho against Nick Martinez. Springer a walk and a base hit and a run scored. He has been the most effective player offensively here in this game. A good plate appearance in the first to draw the walk. A line drive single, a stolen base, and coming in to score. But again, very little offense for the team as a whole tonight. That's just high, and it's 3-0. Dylan Cease at 101 pitches through 6 undoubtedly frustrating innings for him. I'm sure the home runs frustrate him. I'm sure the throwing error and the balk frustrate him, and there hasn't been good defense behind him, and that's frustrating in a different way as well. So.
It's been one of those nights where the pitch is maybe not as electric as we've seen in the past, but it's all the peripherals, all that other stuff that's frustration mounts as well.
5 runs allowed, only 3 of them earned tonight. Martinez back to a full count against Springer. Fouled off. Braden Fisher, by the way, had been up in the top of the 6th inning, but we don't see him throwing at this point. See what the plan is next half inning. See if the Blue Jays can get something going this half inning. Popped up shallow right, got a chance to drop, and it will.
Went back in there with that sinker, trying to pitch him in and jam Springer, and he did. But George got rewarded with a good path to the baseball.
So Springer on base for the 3rd time, and here's Okamoto, who twice has hit fly balls to shallow left field, now 0 for his last 13. And there's a meeting on the mound coming because there's been a phone call made, and Kevin Cash has activated the bullpen, and they are getting after it out there. The way they are throwing is not, it doesn't look like hey guys, get up and start getting loose. They're throwing hard out there. Cam Boozer is the lefty, and Casey Legumina is the righty. Springer the lead. Okamoto waits. Rays off one just above the zone, ball one. Swings through a changeup, 1-1.
That's one of his better ones we've seen. Especially when you're in a 1-0 count as a hitter, maybe a little more aggressive mode.
It must look like a knuckleball or a wiffle ball or something weird to the hitter. It's really slow, moves a ton. Grounded up the middle. And it is a double play.
Good location again, down and away with that cutter. Palacios takes it himself, playing way over by that second base bag.
So just like that, 2 down and the base is empty. And here's Dalton Varsho, who is 0 for 2 on a pop-up and a ground out. The hits are basically even, 7-6 for the Rays, but 2 home runs for the Rays, nothing but singles for the Blue Jays, and then the defensive problems as well, and that's how you have a 4-run margin. And a 2-hopper right to Aranda, and that will end the bottom of the 6th. That remains the Rays 5 and the Blue Jays 1. The best tennis players in the world return to Canada in just a few weeks. Coverage of the National Bank Open presented by Rogers begins August 2nd only on Sportsnet. Great couple of weeks of tennis action both in Montreal and here in Toronto. It is 5-1 Rays top 7. Braden Fisher now in from the bullpen.
Fisher pitched twice in the White Sox series. He pitched yesterday, got a couple of outs while giving up a single. 47th game of the season for Fisher.
Shortstop Taylor Walls will lead it off, take a curveball down and in. Walls doubled and scored in the 3rd and had a sacrifice in the 5th. So when you're the number 9 hitter hitting around, well, 221, you feel good about what you've done at the plate. 2 productive plate appearances for Walls, who again is outstanding defensively, probably the front runner to win a Gold Glove at shortstop in the American League this year. Has always had the chops defensively, but has never really been a regular player, so he has not won a Gold Glove, but he's playing more this year than he ever has before.
And has not been very good against breaking pitches, and he's facing a guy that throws a lot of breaking pitches between the curveball and the slider.
Now went after a high fastball, but comes up empty. Now the number 1 lefty, Garrett Clevenger, is up in the bullpen for the Rays. Swing and a miss. Fisher gets him. And a chance to show the line on Dylan Cease tonight. And again, there was a lot of good in there. 7 strikeouts, just 1 walk. But undoubtedly, Dylan Cease leaves this game with frustration. And we talked about it both. I'm sure the home runs frustrate him. He committed a throwing error. There was a balk as well. And then 2 other errors behind him. It just felt like it could have been better, but just everything piled together. And they wound up getting 5 runs. Again, only 3 of them earned. But I'm sure when Dylan Cease speaks after the game, it'll be with I would imagine, a frustrated tone in his voice.
I think when the manager speaks after the game, there will be a frustrating tone in the voice, and rightfully so, watching the way his club has performed tonight. Dylan Cease is going to go out there and give you 100 pitches, whether it's 6 or 7 innings, pretty well every time out there. But you just can't overcome the misplays and the mistakes that John Schneider's had to watch tonight.
Weakly hit ground ball, giving chase. Fisher, bare hands, throw across. Not in time. Yandy Diaz with an infield hit.
Well, he's not the guy you were expecting to bounce one in front of the plate and get an infield hit. Yandy Diaz, the big leadoff hitter. But you pound it in front of the plate like that in the right spot, tough to make a play.
Last time he was on, he stole a base, just his second of the season. 1-on-1 out here for Jonathan Aranda, who is 1 for 3, hit an RBI single in the third. And he'll lift a fly ball to center, playable for Varsho. Over towards left center a bit, 2 down. And a new baseball coming into play here as Junior Caminero comes up. He is 2 for 3. He doubled in the first and had an RBI single in the fifth. He just turned 23 a couple of weeks ago. Kevin Cash was talking about the moment in the All-Star game. Remember, Riley O'Brien of the Cardinals hit Junior Caminero in the hand, and it looked like he was in serious pain. I mean, Caminero left the game instantly, had X-rays shortly thereafter, and Kevin Cash was extremely appreciative of how quickly John Schneider got in touch with him during the game to let him know that his player was okay. Remember, the entire staff, medical training staff, coaches of the Blue Jays were all there. And this was the moment. Imagine being Kevin Cash sitting in your living room watching that happen to a player of Caminero's ability in the All-Star game. The X-rays negative, and he was extremely appreciative of all the work that the Blue Jay staffers and the information, how the communication from John Schneider.
Like so much so he thought, did John Schneider have his cell phone in his back pocket?
Right. He said, I don't know if he did, and I don't know if that's against the rules, but I'm really happy that he got in touch with me so quickly.
But it is nice, and that's part of your responsibility, I'm sure, as a manager in the All-Star game, because you've got a lot of other managers around the league. And John talked to us about hearing from other managers how they like to see their players deployed, so that communication is critical, but especially when it's regarding an injury.
And he lashes another ball to deep left center field. Off the wall on a bounce. Here comes Diaz. He's getting the wave. The relay throw from Jimenez is not in time. And Caminero has his third hit and his second RBI of the night.
Curveball from Fisher is up and out over the plate, but Caminero, and you can see when he just gets that front foot down, he can really turn on the baseball. And the throw from Varsho eventually does get to Jimenez, but Andres did not get a good grip, so there is no play whatsoever at the plate.
(6-1). And here's Mullins, who homered his last time out. If I said to you over the next 10 years, who do you think will hit the most homers, or who do you think will drive in the most runs, or who do you think will have the most extra base hits, it could be that guy standing out at second base.
How old did you say Caminero is?
He
23.
just turned 23.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
He won't be part of the small ball race. You just can't make mistakes like that to hitters of that caliber. Those are the pitches you're lucky that they stay in the ballpark.
And now a high fly ball to right field. It is playable for Lucas. And that'll retire the side, but the Rays add on again and now take a 6-1 lead to the bottom of the seventh. Well, into the Wayback Machine here when Pete Walker was a pitcher for the Blue Jays and Kevin Cash was a catcher. One now the pitching coach for the Blue Jays, and one now, of course, the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. But Kevin Cash has some roots in the Blue Jays organization, as of course Pete Walker has had for decades now. But now on opposite sides of the field, as they have been for many years.
Pete's spinning it there. Some good pitches.
Yeah.
Some great calls, of course. I'm sure he is tipping his cap to his catcher.
As retired catchers always do. 6-1 for the Rays. Lefty Cam Boozer is in from the bullpen for Tampa Bay. Alejandro Kirk is going to lead it off.
A lot of four-seam fastballs and cutters from Boozer. Fastball be in the mid-90s. Had a nice season, 17 games for Kevin Cash's club. ERA under 1.5. He's got a whip of .68. Just 4 walks and 9 hits in his 19 innings. There's not many base runners.
Undrafted. Spent a few years in the Twins system. They didn't play for a few years. Looked like maybe just he decided it wasn't in the cards. Didn't play in 2018, 2019. There was no minor league baseball in 2020 because of COVID, and eventually climbed his way up to the major leagues with the Red Sox 2 years ago, the White Sox last year, but kept becoming a free agent, signing with a new team, and he is having by far his best results in the big leagues here this year with Tampa Bay. They'll find some guys. Fastball away, and it's 2-2. After Kirk, it'll be Jimenez and Straw. A run on 6 hits so far for the Blue Jays tonight. And a fly ball to right field for Mesa. And as we said earlier tonight, Nick Martinez had himself a Nick Martinez kind of night. Didn't strike out a single batter. He does not strike out very many. The Blue Jays put it in play as they do, but did not put it in play with authority.
Use that wide variety of pitches that we had talked about. A lot of the sinker cutter to the righties. He even mixed in his changeup, which we said is his best pitch. Used a lot against the lefties, but mixes, matches, change speeds, stays off the barrel as good as anyone in the game. A lot of soft contact.
Jimenez fouls it off, and it's 0-2.
And I'm sure it's going to get increasingly difficult for John Schneider to talk about his offense again after this game. You know, yesterday was a pretty darn good pitcher in Sean Burke from the White Sox, and it was Davis Martin the day before. But they can't all be really good top-notch pitchers. We know they're good pitchers, and he knows they're good pitchers. But he'll be the first one to say you've got to be good pitchers at times too. But it's just looked very different this season.
Jimenez strikes out for out number 2. And as we talked about right off the top of the show, it's getting late. The trade deadline is 2 weeks from today, and it comes in the afternoon, so before the Monday night games on August the 3rd. So after tonight, only 12 more games for the Blue Jays, and again in the standings they're in the worst spot they've been in all season, both in terms of how many games under 500 and how far back they are of the 3rd wild card spot. It is something that I don't think many would have thought possible heading into the season. I mean, you never know if you can recreate the kind of year they had last year, obviously, but I don't think many would have thought that this team would be a seller, and that is certainly a very, very real possibility.
There is, coming out of spring training in 2025 off of a last place finish, there was no real verve. There was nothing really to get overly excited about, like this team's got a chance to win the East, and then the season went the way it did, and wow, did it ever happen. But this season you come to spring training, think, okay, you got all these guys back, you bring on a few good bodies who have helped, but you would have never imagined we'd be sitting here like this late July.
End of 7, and the Rays up 6-1. As we move to the 8th inning, the Rays have a 6-1 lead on the Blue Jays, and for the first time since Brendan Little was recalled for the 2nd time this year, he is into the game here for the Blue Jays.
And just 6 games for him in a big league uniform this season. This is a guy that led the American League in appearances last year. 79 games, an ERA of just over 3. Tremendous first half of the season. Last year the struggles came in the second half and then again this season, trying to become that valuable left-handed reliever again for this big league club.
First batter he'll face is the left-hand hitting Chandler Simpson. And he starts him with a strike, which is always, of course, the big thing for Brendan Little. Get it in the zone, get it close enough of the zone to get him to swing the bat. Ground ball to short with Simpson's speed. Got to be perfect here, and it's not dug out at first. Don't know if they would have had him had it been clean, but Simpson is going to reach on what I would think would be scored a base hit.
Well, as soon as this ball is hit, you know it's going to be trouble. Jimenez does all that he can. Glad he can't come up with a pick. It looks like he hurt his hand a little bit on the attempt of his wrist.
And it is a base hit for Simpson. And now here's Victor Mesa Jr., who has homered and then struck out twice. For Little, the walk issues have persisted this year at AAA. 25 walks in 32 innings. But again, the Blue Jays sent Adam Macko back down to the minors, and Little kind of next in line to be the second lefty out of the bullpen. First time Macko got sent down, it was a numbers game. He just kind of got caught, had options. They needed a fresh arm. John Schneider talked about it a couple of days ago. The message was different this time. Macko had kind of run into some trouble. He had been scored upon in his last 4 appearances, and they have talked to him about maybe sharpening up the arsenal a little bit, maybe changing the pitch usage a little bit. And they're going to give Little another look and see if he can command the strike zone well enough.
Sinker, curveball, and slider for the most part. We know that sinker is a good one, gets lots of movement, but biggest issue is being in the zone. Ahead 0-2 here, that's always a good sign.
Ground ball to first. There's one. Guerrero's throw down, and that's in time. What a good play by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to turn that double play.
That is such a double play for a couple of reasons. First, he has to short hop this baseball right around the first base bag, and then he has to get the throw over the runner just perfectly into the glove of Jimenez to apply the tag. Can't do it more perfectly than that.
So 2 down and the base is empty, and now Richie Palacios, another left-handed batter. He'll take a strike. You know, the Blue Jays obviously aren't the same defensive team as they have been the last couple of years, but it's not his fault.
No.
He has played
a great first base.
He has played a very, very good first base. The eye test says it. The advanced metrics say it.
And that impressive with the offensive struggles he's had most of the season. You can easily take that out onto the field and have it impact your defense. He's not done that.
It would or will be of small consolation given the overall picture with the team, but like, he's got a shot to win a Gold Glove this year. He has been among the best defensive first basemen in the American League, and maybe the front runner. Tied for 3rd in the majors in defensive run save, but 1st in the American League. And you're right, he could have taken it into the field with him. I mean, he's struggled more at the plate by far than he ever has before, but it has not impacted his defense at all.
It's hard to do, regardless of your position. It's hard not to, because most players think about their bat so much. And of course, the weight of everything is on his shoulders because you're expecting him to lead the way.
Strike 3 call. Nothing across against Little here in the top of the 8th, going to bottom 8, 6-1 Tampa Bay. The next City Connect Friday comes your way July 31st. Enjoy live music and great vibes around the ballpark. All that makes Toronto one of a kind. Visit BlueJays.com/tickets today. Top of the order coming up for the Blue Jays. Ernie Clement, Nathan Lucas, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And Kevin Cash has gone to the bullpen again. This time for a right-hander in Casey Legumina.
Fourth season for Legumina, came over from Seattle. Right-hander pitching in his 33rd game of the season.
Clement tonight 1 for 3, had a base hit back in the first. Legumina not a hard thrower, but has 5 different pitches. Unusual for a reliever.
A lot of fastballs between the four-seamer and the sinker.
Bounced up the middle. It's going to sneak into center for a base hit.
Ernie just threaded the needle here. It's a couple hops. It was almost, I wonder if it was an I got it, you take it between the shortstop and the second baseman, but neither one of them gets there.
His second hit of the night, and now here's Nathan Lucas, who has a couple of base hits and 3 trips. Outside, even at 1-1. The Rays coming in on a 5-game losing streak. Just got swept in Boston, a 4-game series out of the All-Star break. Still the leaders in the East. But the Yankees only a game and a half back. And the Yankees are leading the Pirates right now 8-5 in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Red Sox are tied with the Orioles 5-5 in the 8th inning. With that 13-game winning streak, Boston has closed within 6 games of the division lead. Lucas lifts a fly ball to left, and Simpson is there for out number 1.
Stream every pitch on Canada's best and most reliable 5G Plus network. Visit Rogers.com today to get connected.
So Kevin Cash's team looking to end that losing streak here tonight and to make sure the Yankees don't pick up any more ground on them.
We were talking to Kevin Cash about that Boston Red Sox team because they want to rinse and get out of that series that they just got swept from Boston, but he gave credit to Boston too. They're playing really well right now, and that's just sometimes what happens. You run into a really hot team. He's not concerned about his guys, and his guys have shown tonight that they're looking to get back on track.
0-2 on Guerrero. There are the standings in the American League East. Tampa Bay has been on top most of the season. The Blue Jays have fallen into the basement in the last couple of weeks. The Red Sox on a crazy winning streak right now, 13.
You can go on a run when you put it all together, and they're swinging the bats. The pitching has been excellent. How about Sonny Gray? I mean, did you ever envision he was going to be like this when they acquired him?
A couple of weeks ago, I would have thought they were going to trade him, but can't do that now. They're in it. Swing and a miss, and that's all for Guerrero. He's now 0 for 4. Two down in the inning, and here's Springer. Been on base all 3 times. You just wonder what is going through his mind. It has, and again, last week there was some good stuff on the road trip, but it's just tough to fathom.
I can't imagine. I don't think any player can imagine what he's going through, because there aren't many that have done some of the things that he does and then to go through these struggles.
The force at second to end the inning, and we are through 8 now here at Rogers Center. Enjoy live sports and can't miss hits like The Real Housewives of Orange County and more, all in one subscription. Bundled today at sportsnetplus.ca. Top of the 9th inning here in the opening game of 4 between the Blue Jays and the Rays. It is 6-1 Tampa Bay. Led 2-0. The Blue Jays got a run on the bottom of the 4th, but the Rays have added on. Brendan Little back out for his second inning of work as he faces the number 8 hitter Nick Fortes. Little, often with Buffalo this year, has gone more than an inning. Bullpen is quiet. Close but no, and it's 2-0. Big cut, fouled it off. 2-1. Tomorrow night in the second game of this series, it's going to be another good pitching matchup. Kevin Gausman is going to be on the mound for the Blue Jays, and Drew Rasmussen, another All-Star, on the mound for the Rays. Fly ball hit deep left field. Straw watching, it's gone. Third home run of the night for the Rays, and it's now 7-1.
Well, if you're Brendan Little, you're trying to pound the zone, and you have to do that and make hitters beat you. And in this case, this slider came right back toward the middle of the plate and right into the barrel of Nick Fortes.
Fortes' third of the season. Here's Taylor Walls switching around to the right side. He's got a base hit. His second hit of the game. And Pete Walker's on the phone. They're going to get somebody up. Not what they want to do in a game where it's a 6-run deficit right now. Top of the order, Yandy Diaz, who is 1 for 4. And an infield hit his last time up. He has scored a couple of runs tonight. And that's going to get through. First and second, nobody out. Lazaro Estrada is up for the Blue Jays. He worked an inning in yesterday's game. Little now to face Jonathan Aranda, who is 1 for 4. Had an RBI single in the third. Thirteen hits now for the Rays in this game. Ball 2. And now Kirk is going to try to settle down Little a little bit and also maybe buy some time for Estrada.
Caleb Durbin has homered in Boston, Dan, with the Red Sox up late, and there's that Fenway Park magic they're trying to create again.
When the Blue Jays saw them, I don't remember exactly what it was, month and a half ago, maybe something like that. They were struggling terribly.
And Caleb Durbin wasn't this.
No.
Very good third baseman defensively, of course, but the bat has really come now too.
Red Sox trying to win their 14th consecutive game. Went around, and it's 2-1 on a Ronda. The trade deadline is going to be fascinating on a broader scale because a lot of teams are kind of sort of in it. There may not be that many sellers. Here's a ground ball to second. Clement, Jimenez, Guerrero to turn 2. It may be a seller's market. So runner at third, 2 down, and they're going to put Caminero on. An intentional walk to Junior Caminero. To face Cedric Mullins. You know, given the way how candid John Schneider was after yesterday's game, and you mentioned this before, what's he going to sound like tonight? Because the frustration is climbing.
It
quickly.
feels like the looks we're seeing of John tonight are different, and I completely get it. Because when you're struggling the way this team is and you're preaching the things you are, trying to get them back on track, and I mean, how many different ways can you say the same things?
And the defense, you know, yesterday it was about the offense. Today it's also about the offense, or tonight it's also about the offense, but now you've got, they have played one of their poorest defensive games of the season here tonight. Little beats Mullins with a fastball to get out in front of 1-2.
So many managers will preach about consistency. Kevin Cash was asked about that today, coming off the tough series against the Red Sox, but he feels that when you're going through stretches, because the Braves have done that this year, they've had hot stretches, but they've had really cold stretches, and he says you got to come to the ballpark every day and be consistent. But easier to say from a first place position right now than last.
Little got a new baseball from home plate umpire John Tumpain, but he didn't like it, so Tumpain will throw him another one. Runners on the corners with 2 down. And the 2-2. This is popped up. Jimenez back into shallow left field to make the catch for the 3rd out. To the bottom of the 9th. Blue Jays come up trailing 7-1. They got the 1 run they've gotten tonight back in the 4th. That is it. The Rays have just, as you can see from the line score, gradually pulled away tonight. And look like they are on their way to a victory in the first game of this series. Brian Baker, who is their closer and was an all-star and actually closed the all-star game. John Schneider gave Baker the ball for the last out. A former Blue Jay, was in the organization a couple of years, made 1 appearance as a Blue Jay with the Orioles for a few years, then acquired last year in a deal. Tampa Bay's gotten him, and he is this is not a save situation, obviously, but he is the American League leader in saves and is having a big-time season.
He is enjoying the most success at the big league level. Made his major league debut with the Blue Jays back in 21 in that 1 game, but this season he has been excellent. That whip under 1.
Hasn't pitched in a while. They got swept in Boston, so Kevin Cash has said got to get him in no matter what.
Changeup throwing closer. 4-seam fastball and changeup. 2 pitches for the most part. He mixes in the occasional slider.
And Nick Fortes needs a moment. Thumbs up. Maybe another moment. He's got a lot going on before he delivers the ball too, Brian Baker. A guy who throws a changeup almost half the time, and the other half the time he's got a fastball that touches 98.
And he's a big man out there, 6'6", 235 coming at you. But you see all of that going on, similar to what we said about Martinez, but then it's the changeup. It can speed you up as a hitter.
Funny how it just takes some guys a while to find it. And looking back a few years ago, he didn't throw the changeup much at all, threw a lot more sliders. It can just be tinkering with the pitch usage, just tapping into something that gives you more life, late movement, who knows. And you go from a guy who was a fringy major leaguer to an all-star.
A changeup or split pairs so well with a high velocity fastball. In this case, it's the changeup, but maybe it's just what's comfortable in terms of grip that had worked for him, and it's working.
He walks Okamoto. Leadoff man aboard in the bottom of the ninth, and that'll bring up Dalton Varsho, who is 0 for 3. Kind of an interesting trade too last year between the Orioles and the Rays. There's only one kind of draft pick that you can trade in Major League Baseball. It's called a competitive balance pick. It's for the teams that are low revenue teams, and the Rays are a low revenue team, and they traded a competitive balance pick, the 37th. They're usually between the first and second round. Pretty good pick, 37th pick. They traded the 37th pick in the draft last year to get Baker. They must have had a feeling, we can help this guy. We can make this guy better than he was. And because if you're the Rays, you don't want to, you don't spend a lot of money. Those draft picks are valuable, but obviously they were in the race last year. They needed another arm in the pen. Wasn't a great pen last year.
Don't you know that if the Rays calling for one of your pitchers, you just got to figure him out, because there's something really good about him. But they do it well.
Orioles had him for a few years, but they took the draft pick. It remains 0-2 on Varsho. Got back to ball and got himself a base hit. Got to the changeup down around the shoe tops, and he's got a single.
Well, he had thrown 3 fastballs up top above the zone. He comes back with a changeup, and Dalton's just fighting for his life here with 2 strikes, trying to get barreled a baseball, and he just flipped it out there. But that is also part of a contact ability, putting balls in play. Maybe a year ago, that's a strikeout. Here's a little different approach, and you've talked so much about Dalton's approach, whether it's avoiding strikeouts, putting the ball in play, good things can happen. The consequences, we haven't seen the slug from him this year.
Here's Kirk, who has driven in the only run of the night for the Blue Jays on a 2-out RBI single to right back in the 4th. Takes the changeup low. Grounded to first, and the Rays will turn the double play.
Fastball up in the zone that Alejandro handles very well, but hits it right to the first baseman. And Aranda and Walls do a nice job turning it, making the pitcher get over there and cover first, but had plenty of time with Kirk running.
Rays are also a good defensive team this year. Not everywhere. Aranda, as you mentioned, he's had some issues, but in general, they are a good defensive team. So the Blue Jays down to their final out. It's Andres Jimenez, 0 for 3. Tough times right now. They're packing them in. 41,000 a night. This fan base is doing everything it can right now. Here's a well hit ball right field, but caught by Mesa, and that is going to be the ball game as the Tampa Bay Rays go to 6-1 on the season against the Blue Jays and drop the Blue Jays 8 games below the 500 mark.
Just a crazy night, and in terms of quality of baseball after losing that series on the weekend, you like to see the Blue Jays come out with a better effort tonight. Dylan Cease was on the mound. You've got your horse, but it was just ugly all around in all aspects. The bats were quiet yet again, but more importantly, some of the defense behind them.
Kevin Gausman and Drew Rasmussen in the second game of the series. We will have it for you. The broadcast will begin with Blue Jays Central at 6:30 Eastern tomorrow night here on Sportsnet. Again, the final, the Rays 7 and the Blue Jays 1. Time now for Sportsnet Central, presented by KFC with Ken and Jesse.